All right, still live in the arena. Lauren Gunn joining us for a post-game. Dallas Mavericks get their second win, undefeated season, still in play. We'll talk about that. Kristaps Porzingis and Luka, the connection is real. And then, of course, we got to talk about our boy, Eugene Omoruyi had a night to remember. We'll talk about that coming up on today's Locked On Mavs.
Luka Doncic, and this is Locked On Mavericks podcast.
KP, Dallas Mavericks are NBA champions. Bang! Bang! It's good! And the Mavericks have won the game!
If you don't believe, you shouldn't be here.
And welcome. You are locked on to the Dallas Mavericks. My name is Nick Angstadt, media member and coordinator for Locked On Podcast Network. And joining me, reoccurring guest, friend of the show, Lauren Gunn, live in the arena at the AAC. What you got for me, Lauren?
Oh, it's good to be back. It's good to be chatting with you. I am still in the arena. I feel like I need to be making my way out. I feel like I've overstayed my welcome by a good bit. But no, it's great to be here. It's great to be undefeated in the preseason. The vibes are immaculate, as they say. So
man.
Yes.
I've been waiting to use this, and I think it's time.
I mean, great vibes, man. It's great vibes. Like, great vibes. Yeah, great vibes. No, sensational vibes. And, like, the vibes are immaculate.
That is one clip of Jalen Brunson on JJ Redick's podcast. I didn't cut that or anything. That's just him straight through. Just all right, we got to talk about the Mavericks did beat the LA Clippers in the preseason. Finally, they can get a win against these Clippers. I mean... 122 to 114, but there's some big things to get into. There's some encouraging things from Kristaps Porzingis, the Luka connection, and Eugene Omoruyi. So let's start with the Luka and KP thing. Mm-hmm. So you saw the other day, Jason Kidd said, oh, any rift between Luka and KP is fake news. Mm-hmm. And now we're just, all right, let's just show us something on the court. Before the game, we did a preview show for Friday and said, one thing I really wanted to see was a couple plays of just some chemistry between Luka and KP. And I think we got some of those plays. There was the one play, I think in the first or second quarter, where Luka and KP were both on the left side, and they were going, and Luka was driving to the rim, and then KP noticed that Luka was drawing a defender. KP then, shifted back out and kind of backpedaled back to the three-point line. Luka was able to draw the defender, kicked back out to KP. He hit a three. They connected on an alley-oop. What did you see, being real close to them? What did you see the connection between Luka and KP tonight?
Yeah, I mean, obviously those plays were really great to see, but what I was following and so fascinated by was how they're always looking at each other, and it seems like Luka knows where KP is at all times, which, let's be real, he knows where everyone is at all times in the back of his head.
Yeah.
But I was very encouraged by the chemistry that you're starting to see from them and just the feel that they have for each other out on the floor. It just seemed like tonight was one of those games where you could really see what it's like when they do play off of each other and just kind of are on the same wavelength. And I do think that Coach Kidd playing them and essentially having their minutes mirror each other is a big part of that and will continue to be. So I liked seeing them continue to look at each other, high five, the finger points as they're walking or running back, getting back on defense. It's a lot of it. There are a lot of encouraging signs with these two. So I'm excited to continue to watch that for sure.
Yeah, you mentioned Kidd mirroring their minutes, and KP played a little bit without Luka in this game, and I guess Luka a little bit without KP, but he is really trying to do that. And so now two preseason games into it, we know Jason Kidd is trying to get those two guys to play a lot of minutes together in the preseason. And so we'll see, maybe he continues that, and he continues to have Luka and KP play a lot together during the season. It doesn't stagger their minutes very often. So that'll be interesting to see what he decides to do. But definitely we know for now he's trying to get those two together. KP, 15 points, 5 boards, 4 assists, 2 steals, 3 blocks in just under 20 minutes. Luka, 14 points, 8 boards, 9 assists. Just some great production from those two guys in only one half of play. But Kristaps Porzingis is the one that stands out. After the game, Tim McMahon asked him an interesting question. He said, how are you feeling now, basically, compared to how you were feeling during the playoffs? And he said, in the playoffs, I was getting closer to 100%, and I was starting to feel my movement and stuff come back, which was a comment that sounded a lot like Dirk to me. Like Dirk, I don't know why. The way he says move reminds me of Dirk.
Yeah.
And then he said, but in the regular season, I was definitely not all there, basically, and not close to 100%. How did you see him look on the court tonight? Because he was moving, 2 steals, 3 blocks. Like he was getting to some shots at the rim.
Yeah, I really liked what I saw from him tonight. And I guess let me say that even though we've played the Jazz and the Clippers, who are both not at full strength, and it is preseason, and they are the front courts that they're throwing out there.
No.
Hear me out.
Here we go with the caveat.
Even though that they're a little undersized, like KP has the paint presence. He has the rim protection going. And so having that engagement and just being on the same page with Luka, I think it's all just kind of coming full circle. And so I've been really intrigued. I sent out a tweet during the game that there were a couple of times he got switched on to guards and wings. And while that's not an ideal matchup, there were multiple times where he got switched on to Terrence Mann, and they did not have Terrence Mann. They did not call for that mismatch and have Terrence attack the rim. And so, yeah, there were a couple of times when somebody would cross over and score over KP, but he was doing a good job staying in front of them and getting that hand up to contest. So I really like his movement, like you mentioned, and just his overall confidence on both ends of the floor.
Yeah, I thought he looks like he's just moving better. He's able to get to stuff faster. And when you're playing defense in the NBA, it comes down to just like minuscule things, split-second decisions. You have to just decide which direction to go. And if your athleticism or what you think your athleticism is as a player is even a little off, it just throws you so off. And that's what it felt like KP was like last year, because we were like, man, we know he can defend better than that. His first year with the Mavericks, he defended better, but all last year it seemed to be off. Now I'm taking the drink because everyone said it, even KP. First healthy offseason coming in, he went in depth with Callie Kaplan after the game. I'm sure she'll do an article about it for Dallas Morning News about exactly what he was able to do instead of rehabbing, right? He was able to get his strength up. He was able to work on some certain things, and all that has just been helping his game, which is awesome, which you love to see. There are signs of KP. The other quote I found really interesting after the game, Jason Kidd about Kristaps Porzingis when asked, what did you think about KP tonight? If he's not hurt, we believe he's an all-star, and we'll take that. Do you buy that quote?
It's so hard because sometimes there are just quotes that go out there, and you're like, okay, well,
coaches just say stuff sometimes.
Yeah,
and I'm like, all right,
it's like, what do you expect him to say?
Right.
And so,
but nobody comes out. They didn't ask him like, is he an all-star?
Yeah,
but he came out and said, we believe he's an all-star, right?
Yeah.
It wasn't prompted.
Yeah. So it's hard where it's kind of like, okay, well, how much is like, I guess the main thing that I'll take away from it is I like the confidence, and I think that KP will like the confidence in him, as opposed to being like, okay, we have this number 2 next to Luka. That's great. Like, no, we do see you as an individual and as an all-star, and that's huge for this team. And so I don't really think of it of like, oh, is that going to happen? What are the odds? Am I buying or am I selling? But like, what do I think about that? And how do I think it will translate to the long-term chemistry of this group? And so, yeah, I do think that I don't hate it. You never hate to see a coach give confidence to their players.
Yeah, true. All right, coming up, I want to see what we think about KP and Luka kind of going forward, and we have to talk about Eugene Omoruyi. We got our first look at Frank Ntilikina, so we'll talk about that coming up. All right, Lauren, let's get into some more about this game. Again, the Mavericks win in the preseason. It's a preseason win, but we're feeling good. Okay, question I have to ask. You've been in the arena both games. I was there for the first one. Are you buying the chemistry on this team? Because it seems like this team is way more connected than they were last year. The getting up on the bench, Luka, laughing and joking about Boban's shot. They were all getting up every time Omurui hit a shot in this game tonight. And you were saying that KP and Luka are always looking at each other. We got somebody posted a video on Twitter of Luka and KP on the bench laughing about something, and you're like, oh man, all of a sudden all this is coming together. Is this just, am I buying too much into the chemistry and this team kind of like loving being together?
No, I don't think you're buying too much into it. I don't think anybody is. I think these are the things that you want to see. And it's like, okay, maybe they're encouraging to see as the season goes on, but like we're seeing them right now in preseason with a lot of new guys in the locker room, not just the guys that we got in free agency or Moses Brown via trade, but like the two-way guys. And so there's a lot of new faces and a lot of new personalities in this locker room. And so to see them kind of have this chemistry that they've already started to create is really encouraging. And I am buying into it. Something that I will continue to say is that when it comes to team chemistry, and not just for the Mavericks, but for any NBA team, I have no reason to think that it's bad or in like a state of turmoil until you can see it. And so I know you're not always going to see everything, but these guys spend so much time together. So you have to assume that like they're adults, like they're going to get along and if they're not getting along, you can see it. You can see it all day long, and you can see it on other teams. And you can just see it. And so as of right now, yeah, I'm totally buying it.
Yeah, when we could see when it wasn't in the playoffs and when it wasn't at the end of the season last year. Like there were signs and stuff that we would point out. Isaac and I would do the daily like, well, here's the little like microaggression that we've seen in this game between Luka and KP, right? It just seemed like we were on microaggression watch between at the end of the season. But now it seems different. And a comment that Tim Hardaway Jr. made during the offseason when he had his introductory press conference after his contract extension, or after he re-signed, he said, I want to be part of this. This is home for me. I want to be part of this. I didn't want to miss out, right? And it just felt like he was saying, this is a good group of guys here. We can get this done, and I really want to be part of this and make this feel home. And I thought that was a really good quote. And it seems like from top to bottom, this roster seems to be all connected and seems to be, I don't know, they like each other, which is good. And there's not really a bad guy in the bunch.
Yeah, I think what's so interesting about that Tim Hardaway Jr. quote is just given the context of him and his relationships. Like, he chose to come back here. He said he wanted to be a part of something special. And it's no secret that he's probably he is the closest guy to Kristaps Porzingis. So why would you come back if you know that maybe there is like this situation is fragile, or maybe, you know what I mean? Like, I do think that there's something to that. And so I do feel like this team they know what direction they want to move in, and they're all committed to putting 110% into moving in that direction. And so I do feel really good about where this team is at from a chemistry standpoint.
After Luka and KP looking the way that they did, the big story of the night was Eugene Omoruyi, 19 points, 8 of 14 for the field, hit a 3, 5 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals. Eugene Omoruyi is like this undrafted rookie all of a sudden coming in and looking like he could just gain a roster spot. Like, I was thinking, okay, two-way guy, maybe Tyrell Terry should be worried about his spot. Maybe like Trey Burke should be worried about his spot on the team. Josh Green may be worried about his spot on the team right now with the way Eugene Omoruyi is playing. What do we take from this game that he had tonight?
Yeah, and it's not just because like sometimes you see games where it's like, oh, that guy got hot, but like you can't read too much into it. But it wasn't that at all. He was doing the right things. He was he was making the effort plays. He was going after offensive rebounds that he really didn't have to. Again, it's preseason. You don't have to do those things, but when you're doing them, coaches notice. And so, I continue to be impressed by his effort, how he carries himself out there, and how his willingness to not just do like everything, but to do like the dirty work. Like, he dives on the ground, he gets back on defense. I just love everything that I see from him. And I think he has the confidence. His shot mechanics are pretty solid. And so I think over time, he'll continue to improve in terms of shot selection, consistency in the regular season, because there will be some nerves when he gets his opportunity out in the regular season, if he does, assuming he does. And so, yeah, but I think people should be excited about what they're seeing so far, even though it is preseason and given everything that everyone has to say about preseason games only being able to take away so much from preseason games.
For sure. Right. And he took 3 jumpers, right? And one of them, 2 of them were threes. One of them was long too. He hit one 3. The rest of it was all at the basket. It was all finishing up stuff. It was cleaning up, loose balls that he just grabbed and was like, I'm just going to put this up, or offensive rebounds and stuff like that. So it's not like that we saw a ton of skill in the game, but we saw a lot of know-how. It seems like he just is in the right place in the right time. And sometimes that's just what you need as a player, to have the basketball instincts, to be in the right place, the right time, to be able to do the right stuff. And I thought it was an awesome game from him. It was so fun to watch. The bench was all up and excited about him. Every time he hit a shot, they really focused on Bally Sports. They really focused in on Luka during one of them, and he was just like the most excited out of everybody. It was so cool to see that Luka has just become that leader. But yeah, what do we think Eugene Omoruyi is? Like, he's a two-way guy for the Mavericks now. He can play basically as much as he wants, I guess, or as much as the Mavericks want to play him. Jason Kidd wants to play him. But we've seen him play a lot, and we haven't seen Ja'Cory McLaughlin play a lot. So it makes me wonder if they really, really like Omoruyi and they're trying to try him out for something. They played him with Luka and KP a little bit too, which was kind of interesting in this game.
Yeah, I think with what he brings, like his skill set mixed with his physical attributes, we just don't have that. Like I like Ja'Cory's game. He's another guy that has really solid shot mechanics, but we don't really need more guards. What we need are the Eugene Omoruyi types. And so, like, that's the direction the NBA is moving. We have a guy like that in Dorian Finney-Smith, but you can never have too many of those guys. And so the fact that he gets out there, he's got a very NBA-ready body. Like, he doesn't need to put on weight or lose weight, or he doesn't need to do this, and then he'll be that player. Like, he's in a very good position to come in and have an impact, especially when right now he's showing that, hey, I'm fighting for this roster spot. I'm fighting for the role in the minutes. And yeah, I think he's earned them and will continue to earn the opportunity to give yourself even more opportunity, if that makes sense.
That's basically what it is in the NBA if you're an undrafted player, right? Like
it is. Yeah.
Okay, so we have to be upfront with Omurui. He's going to be 25 in February, right? So I think sometimes we see these young players and we're like, oh man, this guy has so much in front of him, but he's older, right? So it's not like he can. I'm not sure he's going to add too much more to his game. But he shot 3 well in college. He showed some good basketball instincts in this game. Maybe the Mavericks get a couple of years out of him and say that he could fill that sort of role. But for this season, let's just focus on this one. I mentioned it earlier. Should Josh Green be worried about his minutes? I don't know. There's somebody screaming in the arena.
Yeah, I am so sorry. I was hoping you couldn't hear it. I don't know. Or I guess he probably should be.
He should. I think he really should.
Yeah, I'm rooting for him so hard, and it's hard because these are the moments where you have to make the most of your opportunity. And he does go out there and he does play with a lot of effort, but there are moments where he looks a little like too raw, whereas Eugene just seems to have a knack for where the ball is going to be and be in the right place at the right time. And so he is just making more of his opportunity, if you will. And so as of right now, I would say that, maybe Josh does need to be a little bit worried, even though they are completely different players in terms of the role that they will play. They are. Kind of going back to that idea that we do have Dorian Finney-Smith, but we don't have many of those types. We do have a lot of depth now at the kind of guard wing position where Josh would get his minutes. So I'd say he does need to be a little bit worried, which because
we're 2 preseason games in, we haven't seen Dorian in one game and Reggie Bullock in another, and Reggie Bullock barely played in game 1 too. So there's another wing that's going to be added to this rotation with Sterling Brown, with Tim Hardaway Jr. Like Josh Green is going to be getting the last, like the end of those rotation minutes, I think. And so now they're just fighting for who gets that, right? Omurui and Josh Green can play together, right? All those wings can basically play together. But it's just they've got a couple of them now, which is great. That's what the Mavericks want. You want that competition. And I also want to be fair to Josh Green. It's not like he did nothing in this game. Right. He had a couple of good assists. He had one awful pass, though. It was like
that was nuts.
He tried to throw the length of the court and just completely missed on the other end. But he has shown good passing instincts. I've liked his defense. I've liked the way he fights through ball screens. He had 6 points, 8 boards himself, a couple of them on the offensive end. He does some great athletic stuff every once in a while. You're like, oh, this is refreshing for this team to finally have some athleticism like that. But the Eugene Omoruyi, Josh Green battle, that's going to be fun, right?
It's like, why not? They both play with a lot of effort. And so whoever's playing with more effort, then get the spot. But they both bring something that's so unique to this group. And so, whoever gets the minutes, I will not be mad about it either way. Because with Josh, like, I always kind of call him like this Energizer bunny. I don't see many guys that have energy like that. And so even though sometimes you're like, whoa, like just calm down a little bit, he's going to have an impact on the game and an ability to make the momentum changing plays that maybe swing the momentum back to your team. And he gets a tough stop, whatever it is, a big dunk, whatever it is. So I would encourage people to not just give up on Josh Green, because I've seen a little bit of that tonight.
Any other observations? Let's just throw random stuff that we saw out there. Frank Ntilikina, the first time we saw him in a Mavericks uniform, he had an incredible Eurostep, which is incredibly on brand for the French Prince.
It was awesome. It was like it happened in slow motion. I was just sitting here and I was like, man, we really got Frankie Smokes. I mean, it was awesome. It was so awesome because it was just one moment, but it was like the end of a quarter. So everybody's like really into it. And it was it was a good moment. So I'm looking forward to more of those moments with him. That seems like something, like you said, very on brand for him. So I'm sure that will not even be close to the last time we see that from Frank.
Yeah, he took a really huge charge too, right in the middle.
Yeah.
Right in the middle of the lane, like not even near the circle, just out on the free throw line, essentially in transition. But yeah, I'm hoping to get some more of Frank Ntilikina and see more of him. He looks pretty good. He looked decent, I guess, in his first minutes here. We got to see the starting unit together, and there's some chemistry there with that group. They've been together for a little while now. The continuity, I guess, if you want to make jokes about Mark Cuban saying the continuity, we need to keep our continuity together, but it's paying off, and it's showing that these guys know how to find each other. Luka finding Tim Hardaway for some threes. The Dwight Powell Luka connection on offense is great, right?
Mm-hmm. It's nice to have for sure.
Dwight Powell's 5 shots that he made, I feel like we're all like Luka Lobs, basically.
Yeah. Oh, don't forget the 3. Didn't he knock? Was that tonight? That was tonight, right?
The 3. Isaac laughed at me when I said I was watching Fan Jam and he took a corner 3, and I was like, "Oh, Dwight's taking threes this year." Jason Kidd wants Dwight to take threes because Jason Kidd had that quote where he said, "Everybody in this starting lineup is going to have different options and give you a different look, and there's versatility to it." And I was like, "Oh, that means he wants Dwight to take threes." And he took one in Fan Jam. Isaac laughed at me, and then now he took this one, and yeah, he only took 21 last year, so I think he'll take 1 a game or something like that. But
yeah, why not? We'll see. I guess we'll see. I mean, look,
we've been trying this with Dwight Powell since he got here.
Yeah,
right?
That's the thing that's so tricky about it, because I mean, so I was watching him tonight. I got here at about like 5:30, and I was watching him out there, and he was only working on
2
mid-range.
hours before the game.
Yeah, I wanted to see as much as I could, but he was only shooting mid-range and threes, like just trying to get that rhythm, the reps. So like he's putting in the work,
and he nails those threes in pregame and in practice, right? I've sat and watched Dwight Powell make 23s in a row.
Yeah, so it's like you got to think that at some point it will start to improve. I think 40% like maxi level is a little bit of a lofty goal, but just expecting him to shoot it with confidence, and maybe he hits one. I don't even know, but like I think I can. I'd like to think that I could get to the point where it's like when he shoots it, I'm like, okay, I'm not like hands on my head, frustrated, punching the air kind of thing,
But in my best Aragorn voice, but it is not this day. It is not this day. Any other thoughts? Who else stood out to you tonight?
I really like KarlAnthony Towns. Like, I think he's fascinating to me. And I'll be honest, when I watched him, I'm like, man, what is his wingspan? Because sometimes I see him stretch his arms, and I'm like, that wingspan is insane. And I think I looked it up and saw that it was only like 6'5", and so it's like a +5, which is still something. But I just like how he plays. Like, sometimes you expect rookies or to come in and just look frazzled and kind of chaotic, but he doesn't play. Like, there were a couple of mistakes that he made, but for the most part, he plays very controlled. He's not afraid to kind of attack the rim and go up against bigger defenders. So I really like his style. And so I think he's going to be really intriguing with the Legends, and I'll be fascinated to see what they do with his development and kind of where they look for him to expand his game.
The control is a great word for it. He gives me Cameron Payne vibes.
So I almost said that, but I was like, I kind of think they look alike. So I don't want to say that, and then people be like, really, Lauren?
They kind of do, though.
I have thought the exact same thing.
But I think his game just gives me a little of that. So
yeah,
he'll play for the Legends. But Ja'Cory McLaughlin with that second two-way spot, he maybe should be. I texted that to Isaac in the middle of the game. Maybe he should be worried about that two-way spot because KarlAnthony Towns is coming for it. He had a really good game in game 1. This one, he had another pretty good outing. He had 6 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 steals, a block. He just does stuff out there, and it's controlled, like you said, and you love to see it. Yeah,
he just kind of makes things happen. And I think Ja'Cory has the ability to do that too. I have a little bit more faith in Ja'Cory as a shooter and just kind of overall offensive production, but we haven't really seen that. And so I'll be looking for him to kind of take control. And if he is playing a significant or does have a significant role with the Legends, and isn't really getting much of an opportunity with the Mavs, their group out there, then I'm going to look for him to really be that leader and kind of initiate the offense, because right now we're seeing more from KarlAnthony when Ja'Cory, like, he has the skills, he's just not doing it. And so we'll see what he can do. But yeah, there are a lot of these guys that they're competing for these spots, and they're making good arguments. So it's gonna be tough.
It's fun. It seems like every one of these guys I feel like that Nico has brought in shows you something, right? Like gives you something. Ron Hunt, we haven't even mentioned his name, but he's had some incredibly athletic plays.
Yep.
We talked about the other ones. Jalen Brunson didn't play in this game. He was the emergency player. They're sticking with this emergency player thing. It was not mentioned after the game, but yeah, I'm interested to see if that continues, but I guess they're going to just make an emergency player.
Yeah, I'm not sure what to think about that either, but he was out, he looked like he was having fun, so yeah, I don't know.
There you go. We will be back on Monday talking more about the Dallas Mavericks. Isaac and I will break down, some stuff. That's what we do every single day. Dallas Mavericks, Locked On Mavs. Lauren, thanks so much for joining us. You can follow her. Her Twitter is LGunn with 4 N's at the end.
That's right.
You can follow her on Twitter and all that stuff. Guys, thanks so much for listening to Locked On Mavs. Peace out. Boom.